Welcome back, everyone, to the Study Prep Guys commentary. It's nice to be back with everyone today for this video. Um, Anyways, without further ado, let's go into the matter that I really want to go into. Um, I have a lot of things to go into, and I really like to start off with what's going on in the world today. I know a lot of you guys would probably say, um, why is the Study Prep guy reacting, or the Study Prep guy CSEC reacting to these kind of stuff? I'm not political by any means. I'm just commenting my thoughts, my ideas, and what's not on the channel, or at least for now. Anyhow, let's go into the world news for today. I think the guy name is Charlie Cork. Um, you guys know that he was a very well respected person, and he died recently. And honestly, it's a very sad situation. You could look into the video itself.
Tonight, Russian drones are shot down over Poland for the first time ever as Vladimir Putin goads the West. Poland says it was directly targeted in what's being described as a dangerous provocation.
We just started getting word just a couple of moments ago that Charlie Kirk has been shot. We have very few details so far coming in on this. We're dependent on witnesses okay. Utah Valley University.
The only question in a situation like this is, why did he get shot? Honestly, like why? Why in the world would someone think of taking out someone like this? At least from my opinion, it could probably deduce a couple of reasons. Like for example, it could be political, it could be objective reason. If you go into his history, his social network platforms, we could deduce that he was very devoted Christian. Sometimes people of other faith, religion, and what's not might not really like him. And plus, he was a right activist. I think that's what they call it in America. Which means that you will go for pro life and stuff, free speech, these kind of things. And honestly, guys, things like this is very not nice. You shouldn't just kill someone because of their political views or political objectives or stuff like that. Anyways, let's keep on watching.
And he was speaking in front of a crowd. And in that moment, and correct me if I'm wrong, he was obviously trans issues in the country today.
This is the same thing that I was talking about. I would say, at least I'm from the Caribbean, have different views on it. But let me just be straight. I don't care if anyone hates me for saying this, but it doesn't make sense for a man to be with a man. It doesn't make logical sense for a woman to be with a woman. It does not make logical sense in any sense. It's just insanity. It doesn't make sense. If like for example, if you were to go into the animal kingdom, or let's just say a male dog, if a male dog is born into the world, that male dog, at least from a couple of days, will figure out that it have to go with a female dog. That's just an illustration of it. But sometimes, at least in the Western countries, sometimes you get killed for just speaking your mind. You get killed for having an opinion. They say free speech exists. I don't know what kind of free speech is this. In these Western countries, it's utterly corrupt. It's very corrupt. And honestly, guys, I used to watch a lot of this guy's clip, Charlie Cork. I watched a lot of his videos. He was very inspirational, at least to me. And for someone like him to die just so suddenly is very sad. I believe that if you were to go, if you even live on the internet, you view Instagram, you view TikTok, you view Facebook, you will see a couple debates where he interacts with students at these campuses or this campus, and he usually shut down their ideas. I wouldn't say shut it down in a rude way, but he shut it down in a way that makes sense. Like for example, if a woman came to him and say, I just want to kill my baby by this is abortion, he will just say it's wrong. And anybody who has a common sense will say that is wrong. And this is the issue with the West. The West, they literally have gone insane. It's insanity, just stupidity. It doesn't even make sense, at least in my opinion, it doesn't make sense. And I would say believe 80% and the 20%, which is idiots, which is the radical left, which are a big fancy term for complete idiots. Because why in the world would you try to promote the killing of children or abortion? Why would you promote men being with men? And why would you promote women being with women? That does not make sense by science. It does not make sense by faith. It doesn't make sense in general. I do condemn it. I will not sugarcoat anything I'm saying on this. This is a study prep guide commentary. And I believe the internet is a free space to say what you want.
When a shot or shots rang out, and we can now confirm via Jason Chaffetz, who was at the Utah Valley University, that shots rang out as Charlie was talking about trans mass shootings. Per Jason Chaffetz, a witness there says he can't say that he saw blood, but he saw him get, he can't say also that he saw him get shot, but he did hear the gunshot ring out. And he was watching Charlie, and then he fell back and to the left. We're giving you exactly the details we have from a firsthand account. Jason Chaffetz, what's that? Okay, Utah Valley University. Obviously, we are praying for Charlie Kirk as we do get word of this. Nicole Parker was with us earlier. We're bringing her back on this. Bear with us as we're just getting these brand new details. We pray that he is okay.
Anyways, there's the gist of it. That is the overall gist of it. So, I really want to speak about politically correct. It's like this. The minute you go into speaking about politics and about these sort of things, you get in danger, especially if it's online. And personally, I don't really want to say anything. I don't really want to. I would say it in a general sense. Whenever you're going to speak about anything from a political point of view, or they say free speech exists, but to a certain extent, it does not really exist. So something that I really want to go into. Guyana development. There's something that I really want to talk about is Guyana's development, right? It's very interesting to note that Guyana right now is the world's fastest growing economy according to network, according to everything else. And what I have noticed in particular in Guyana, I won't speak on the entirety of Guyana, and I will do a video with this. I will do a live video of this, and I'll show you why, and I'll tell you why what I'm saying right now. Um, we have 10, at least in Guyana, they have 10 regions, and the population is not a lot. I believe it's around an average of going on to 1 million, it's less than a million people. And for such a small country to have not a lot of development, well, I won't say they're getting development, everything is current, but I would just like to point out a bit forensic idea that is going on that I've seen, and I will give you evidence in the next video. For some of these projects that is going on, I'll give you an example. In Region 7, especially in Bartico, if you were to look at the road, some of the roads, I won't speak on behalf of all the roads. Some of the roads, they have a lot of subsidiary work. And a lot of you guys will say, to our world country and what's not and stuff like that. I believe that you do have a valid point. But I believe that these areas could be improved significantly. I believe that areas such as this could be improved significantly. I will do a video on it. I will do a live vlog on it. I do have a better camera now to do some live videos, and we will get there eventually. We'll get there eventually. So let me guys show you what's going on with Guyana right now.
Perhaps no world leader spends more of their time at launch events than the president of Guyana, Dr. Irfaan Ali. That's because the small South American country is speedrunning national development. For example, just weeks ago, the president was at the opening of the Aden, a new luxury hotel in the capital. Operated as a franchise of the Best Western, this is only the country's third aligned with an international brand, and it's badly needed. The country's top hotel, the Marriott, is consistently selling for over $600 a night, as a recent influx of foreigners has outpaced the country's ability to build hotel rooms, meaning it's consistently more expensive than the Marriott in New York's Times Square. But this
Anyways, something that I just want to say is that there is a major dispute between, I believe it's Venezuela, which is, if you were to look, it's right here, literally, and Guyana. Honestly, I would say they want Guyana as well, in a sense. And for such a big country, I believe, I don't want to say much, but for a country like Venezuela, and there's the issue of cultural importance in society, at least in Guyana. I'll give you an example of it. We'll do a lot of at least from my point of view, I'm gonna do a lot of live videos coming into the future, and I will hopefully you guys stay in tune. But there's something called cultural importance, right? And what cultural importance is? There's a lot of other abbreviations for it. It's tourism, or if your tourism outweighs the amount of people in your country, they culturally affect the people in your country, meaning that how they live, how they operate, and how they act. An issue that I would believe happens or is going on in Guyana right now, at least from what I have seen, personal experience, personal exposure, being out there, seeing with my own eyes, something that is going on is that Venezuelan girls, in Venezuela, there's a big issue of prostitution. There's a big issue of sexual immorality to a great extent. I believe it's going on in the West. I believe it's going on everywhere, but it has recently resurfaced to a great degree in Guyana. I'll tell you why. A lot of Venezuelan girls, when they come to Guyana, they do prostitution. When they do prostitution, the younger generation, the younger females, they see that, and it becomes part cultural idea in Guyana. And I will do a lot of live videos when I go into these ideas, and I'll show you real life examples of what is going on. Anyways, we'll save all of that for later videos. It's not only going on in Guyana, or generally, it's not going on only in Guyana. It's going on all over the world. Just like to say that for now.
This new hotel in Guyana's capital of Georgetown is the first of a relative deluge backed by the country's government, including a Points by Sheraton, Hyatt Place, AC by Marriott, Courtyard by Marriott, and Radisson Blu already announced and in development. Also notable enough to warrant the president's attendance was the opening of Guyana's first Starbucks. Prices are steep, higher, in fact, than in the US. A medium latte goes for 1,400 Guineas dollars, or about $6.75 USD. Considering just 5 years ago, Guyana was one of the poorest countries in South America with a human development index higher than that of Palestine, it's remarkable that there are now enough people with enough disposable income in Georgetown to sustain such an expensive coffee shop. Something similar can be said for the country's new P.F. Chang's, whose opening was also, of course, attended by President Dr. Irfaan Ali. There, an order of crab wontons goes for the equivalent of 22. A major reason why these international brands are setting up in the country is because there are now more people from abroad coming into the country. So in addition, of course, Dr. Irfaan Ali was also on hand to receive a delegation from United Airlines when the carrier undertook its inaugural flight from Houston to Georgetown. He fulfilled similar duties when British Airways started flights to the country via St. Lucia, reconnecting Guyana with its former colonial capital of London. As recently as 2019, Guyana's only flights beyond the Caribbean region were to Miami and New York. Since then, in addition to the Houston and London flights, American and JetBlue added their own flights to New York, Caribbean Airlines to Toronto, and Avianca to Bogota. There's just suddenly so much more demand to get to the nation, and therefore so many more airlines willing to take travelers' dollars. This turbocharged development also manifests in far less flashy ways as well. The president also presided over the launch event of DynamIQ.
Anyways, guys, I think there was a recent post by Trump about Charlie Kirk incident. I heard of it, but I never really checked it.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college
If
campus
you
in
guys
Utah.
watched him, you could check in the comments.
Charlie inspired millions, and tonight and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family, who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must.
Guys, tell me you're watching this video from, guys. This is a very sad moment. Personally, he has been a great influence in my life. I believe in terms of faith. I believe one of the best quote that I heard Charlie Kirk said was, "I want to be remembered." I think this was an interview with this guy. I recently watched a video of him crying last day when he heard the news. He was live at the time, and he said, the guy said, or Charlie Kirk said, "I want to be a man that represented Christ," or something like that. And I believe that statement really left him right where he is, because he spent his whole life on his political spectrum and talking about Christ and what's not, and that's something that I personally can greatly respect.
Stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare, the shooting of House Majority, radical left political violence has hurt people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to
Pacific, yeah? No, 100%? Right, great. So, do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
It's five. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm going to give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
Oh, I mean, we're about 10 minutes into the end.
You know, this is quite contradictory, you know, like this is very contradictory. In the moment, it's talking about violence, gun violence, and what's not. That was the exact same moment that happened. If that isn't a coincidence, I don't know what is.
Interview, and 4 people in front of us, we hear the gunshot, and then you see Charlie go limp. His neck kind of turned, and we saw blood immediately.
And could you get a sense, Emma, of his injuries and what happened?
Both of our perspectives were that he was shot in the neck. To be perfectly blunt, it felt like so much blood came out of his neck immediately. And then we all took to the ground. I can't tell you what happened immediately after.
Y'all be acting like starting to be like.
This will be a big funeral in America. I believe it will be a very big funeral. Anyways, guys, even my father and everybody else in my family pours, like this here, does his speech. Anyways, I believe this will be a very big funeral in America. And also, I believe it will be a very sad day in America also. Anyways, guys, well, in the stream here now, I don't want to go too long. There will be live vlogs or live videos that at the same time more early about the roads and things that I personally think that the government and the country could develop to a more efficient manner. I have no place to say it. I believe we could do better than that. Anyways, guys, I believe, and I'm really sorry for the death of Charlie. Wish him all the best. Rest in peace, and God bless. Next video.